It was a pretty giant pain in the ass. Sucked quite a bit, so I don't recommend doing any of this. It's a giant pain in the neck. In fact, why are you even here watching this? It's ridiculous. Anyway. X3 today, and we're gonna try and make some progress on fixing this damn thing. We need to see what all it looks like back there, so we're gonna end up pulling all of this plastic off. You see right here, there, all this, all to there. We're gonna get a look at the seat bar and see what it's gonna take to cut this bad boy out and replace it. So we're gonna go ahead and yank all of this crap out and see where we get. So it's a bunch of just Torx tips, nothing special there. All right, so we gotta grab a T30 and our little Milwaukee here, and we're gonna zip all the plastics off this bad boy, and then we'll get the other stuff out of the way that we'll find out. I don't know, there's probably some more stuff underneath there I'll have to get out of the way. And this way I'll be able to get a good idea of what parts I need to order to replace for plastics. I can get an idea on that. So, all right, so we got the roof off, and there is a lot more damage than I thought there was up top. I mean, I knew there was going to be some, but it was, I didn't, well, unless, see, I'm assuming this gap here is because of the accident, but I'm wondering if it's not. Because see, it looks like it was hit and backed off. It's definitely a little more tweaked, but I mean, not like we didn't know that coming in. So I'm going to keep digging through. We need to get to that front corner over there. So at this point, we're gonna have to pull the dash and everything else out of the way in order to get to the filler here without scumbagging it. Maybe when I put it back on, I'll put it the clamp in a way that we'll be able to get to it without doing this again if we have to. But we'll see where we get with that. So I had to take the center console completely loose, which consisted of 2 bolts down there, screws really, Torx T30s, where the broken piece there is. Then there is 2 more right here in the center. There are 2 pot clips right there, and then this whole thing kind of gets loose and you can move it around. Then I was able to get the panel right here, the dash panel, to pop off. I did lose one of the clips somewhere in the car. Gonna have to track that down. I had to do all of that in order to loosen this, which was just finger tight actually. So got that loosened. Pulled this off and then took it out of the plastic to put it back on so I don't have an open fuel cell. And then now I need to take this panel off because it is obviously damaged and broke, but it is riveted to the bottom of the skid plate. So that's fun. We're going to drill that off next. And then I need to get in here, and it looks like this is also riveted. That's unfortunate. Real unfortunate right there. So that's a lot more I didn't want to take apart. So we're going to be taking a lot of rivets off. So I need to get a box of rivets ordered for an X3 because they use them in a lot of places, I'm noticing. Like all over. I was just looking right here. Riveted, riveted. All right, the time has come. I'm really don't want to, but I have to do it now. We knew it was coming. It's time to fix that. So I pulled off, as you saw the video or just the footage just before this, the covers and everything, and saw how bad the damage is behind there. There was one more bar that was messed up that I didn't know was messed up, and which it is what it is. The cage is messed up pretty bad, we knew that. So we ordered enough material to fix the bad bar that we can see. So we're gonna go ahead and fix that. And then we're going to do something about this up bar. I keep looking at it right here because it's just looking at me like, what are you gonna do? You can see there's a little bit of a curve in it, which isn't the end of the world, but it's definitely compounded with this. And then obviously you either did just see or whatever, this is tweaked too a little. So at the end of the day, this frame is garbage. I know it's garbage. I don't want to swap the frame yet because I have plans for the other frame I have. So in the meantime, I am going to cut out this bar right here and replace it. And then we are going to do something about this bar right here. I'm either going to put a whole new bar in, we'll see, or I'm going to do some other type of scumbag thing. I'm thinking about we could cut it and sleeve it, but there's some other parts that come into it here too. So I've got to look at all of what's going on behind here. And in order to do that, we have to take the entire thing apart. So I have to stop playing with my toy that I've been playing with and tear it apart so I can fix it. So that's what we're in the process of doing. I'm gonna spend the next week or so tearing this thing apart, seeing what we can fix, seeing what we can salvage on this thing, and replacing what needs to be replaced. And then we're gonna load it on a trip, trailer, and go on a trip. So I got some parts to order, which you'll see along the process. I've got some bigger problems to fix that are along the process, and I got some little problems to be like, that'll make it. So we'll see how we end up. All right, update. This sucks. So it appears that the entire front well on both sides is one piece. That's what I think at the moment. I'm not 100% on that. I gotta do some research, but that's the way I think it goes at the moment. Which really kind of sucks, because that means you have to take all of this stuff out. Because I already need to take a bunch out to move the fuel tank, because they probably shouldn't weld... Well, if it was just this one right here, I might be okay with just doing the old blanket, fire blanket type deal, but this one needing to be fixed kind of makes that tank a problem. So yeah, got in here, and from the impact, we have a broken clip right there, or broken tab, and then that upper coolant line was actually knocked out of its clips up there. So I had to push that back in. And then the cover was off of the distribution panel over there too, which was kind of weird. So, yeah, good times. So from here I'm a little hesitant as far as what do I do next? Because part of me wants to scumbag this and not do all the work that it's going to take to strip it down. Because there's a lot. All of the wiring harness and everything's run on top of this tub. So even if I tear everything out, getting the tub out might not be an option without disconnecting coolant lines and power and a bunch of other things that I don't want to disconnect. Oh man, it's kind of like you can't dive in. I see why there's a whole frame. I could just do the frame, but then that doesn't leave me with a whole lot of options to build my own frame later, and I want to build my own frame. I think if I pull apart the inner structure here and take all of the rivets and everything out, I can pull up, if I pull the dash, the front clip, the fuel cell, the center console, the steering area, and I pull all of that out, right? And I can lift, hopefully at that point, this up into this cavity area here. At that point, maybe I can get the blanket around it and weld in. Also, I might do a little bit of research and then find out that, hey, none of that was real, because it's two separate pieces, and you're just an idiot, and that's how you do it. So I gotta do some research. Normal me, just running into it. But I know for a fact the whole front end has to come off to do what I need to do, because I have to get behind here. And the only way to get that panel off is to get up underneath there and drill some rivets and shit. The front clip's coming off. We'll see where we get with that. The whole front end's off the rig. I flipped the shocks around just because I had to rip them. Well, I had to get the shock all the way out in order to get this panel out. And at that point, I was like, I might as well flip them over. I think it looks pretty cool like that. So I don't know. We'll see if I keep them that way or not. But, so yeah. It was not a one-piece floor. Thankfully, it was two pieces. But if I went to that side, I'd known that. But it did go up and over the drive shaft, but underneath the cooling pipes and electrical and all that shit right there. So, getting that out was real fun. I had to take the fuel cell all the way completely out, take all the brackets all the way out, and then lift and twist and come out at an angle to get the floorboard out. So that up bar that is bent in the front, I believe my plan is going to be I'm going to get an 1 3/4 pipe and I'm going to scab it in there, and that'll be fine. I can get that locally. The 1 7/8 pipe that it's supposed to be, that's a little harder to come by, It was 128, no, 168, 78 something dollars, something like that, for a 4-foot chunk of it, which is what I need for the exposed bar here, which will be fine. But as far as that up bar that I was unaware was an issue, I'm gonna need something a little more local, a little quicker to get a hold of. So, as far as the cage goes, the roof, I can get them too cheap to make it worth fixing. $100, $200 if I find it, you know what I mean? So there's no point in freaking even building or doing anything with a cage unless I'm gonna go with a full custom cage that does something cool I like. But that's probably not gonna happen. So I'll keep an eye out for cage, pick that up, and go from there. That's pretty much where we're gonna stand tonight. Tomorrow, I need to get a way to get the blanket underneath all of this. Fortunately, there will be enough room for me to do everything I need to do with the blanket, with the fire blanket on here, which should make it to where I can repair everything tomorrow, hopefully. We'll see. So I think I can get that blanket in there in a way that's gonna make it to where that won't be a problem anymore. And then if I'm in here cutting things, I might as well cut and flip my seatbelt mounts over there, because I am not digging how that's working out right now. With the lowered seat, it's just digging into my chair, which I'm not a fan of. We're gonna go ahead and cut this gusset off right now. It looks like it's riveted in the center there, which is probably how they get it where it needs to be close so they can through it through a weld machine. So we're gonna get those rivets off there, and then we're going to cut that whole gusset off. We're gonna try to avoid doing that here. And once this is off, we'll cut around the tube behind there. We'll cut around the tube here. We'll cut around the tube there, and then we'll fish in a new piece. Got the bar cut out, and I keep looking at that one going, how exactly am I fixing that? And I'm looking at this one that's tied together here. It jumped quite a bit when we cut it loose. This bar is just kind of hanging out now. As you can see, it was definitely held down. So that's kind of up in the air, tweaking everything at the moment, but we'll bring that back down to reality when we go to mount it all in.